guys, it's Banu here from Andro.com. So I have a few of Samsung's mid-range smartphones over here. So here I have the Samsung Galaxy A30 and here I have the Samsung Galaxy A50. And what I have over here is the A70 that I've already made my full review on. So the A70 actually costs a little bit more than the A50 and quite a bit more than the A30. In this video, let's go ahead and explore Samsung's lower mid-range smartphones, that's the A30 and the A50, and see if those phones are worth your money. So I'm going to be starting off this review first off by talking about the Galaxy A50. The Galaxy A50 has a 6.4-inch Full HD Plus Infinity U display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080. It packs with 4GB or 6GB of RAM. The internal storage on the A50 is 64GB, but it's easily expandable by using a microSD card up to 512GB. Powering the A50 is the octa-core Exynos 9610 chipset, and the battery on the A50 is a 4000 mAh battery. Next, talking about the specs of the A30, it has a 6.4-inch Full HD Plus Infinity U display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080, just as the A50. It has 4GB of RAM, and as internal storage there are two options, either 32GB or 64GB, and there is a dedicated microSD card slot which you can use to expand your storage up to 512GB. Powering the A30 is the octa-core Exynos 7904 chipset, and the battery on the A30 is also 4000 mAh. Now that we have briefly spoken about the specs of both of these smartphones, now let's go ahead and start off this review by first off talking about the design of both of these smartphones. Now, going around the design of both of these smartphones, you will see that both of them actually have the same stuff all around the device. So both on the A50 and the A30, on the left hand side we have the SIM card tray, and at the bottom we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, the USB Type-C port, the primary microphone along with the speaker, and on the right hand side we have the power button along with the volume rockers, and up top we have the secondary noise cancellation microphone jack on both the A50 and the A30. The striking difference at the back of both the A50 and the A30 are that the A30 has two cameras whereas the A50 actually has three cameras. At the front, both of these devices have the same panel with the same Infinity U notch, and the design looks quite similar from the front. Another difference on the A50 when compared to the A30 is the placement of the fingerprint scanner, because the A50 actually has an in-display fingerprint scanner placed right under the screen over here, just like with the A70. The A30 however opts in for the regular fingerprint scanner at the back, so the positioning is quite okay, but if you use the A50 you will have to register your thumb to use the in-display fingerprint scanner placed right here. In my testing, I found out that the in-display fingerprint scanner on the A50 works similar to the in-display fingerprint scanner on the A70, which I reviewed before. Talking about the display, Samsung has actually obtained for a Super AMOLED screen for both of these budget smartphones without cutting corners with the resolution. For the price that both of these devices come in, I didn't have any issue with the displays. Now, moving into the software side of things, both the A50 and the A30 are powered by Android 9 Pie along with Samsung's own One UI skin right on top. Samsung has done a good job in optimizing both of these smartphones with One UI, and they have added some nice features for the users to enjoy on both of these smartphones. So there are features like the game launcher, dual messenger, direct sharing, pop-up view. So I'm not gonna talk about all of those features in this video because I've already made a dedicated tips video for the A50 and A30. So if you are interested in checking out all of those fancy features, definitely go ahead and check out that video. I'll have a card right here as well as a link down below in the description. Performance wise on both of these devices, the A50 actually works better than the A30 because the chipset on the A50 is actually faster than the chipset found on the A30. I actually found out that the A50 is able to launch apps much faster than the A30. In the time I reviewed the A50 and A30, I actually got a few software updates on both of these smartphones, and that's actually a good thing. I really hope Samsung will continue with the software updates and keep pushing updates for these smartphones, because the trend that we see is all the flagships keep getting all the software updates and all the love, whereas all the mid-range smartphones doesn't get any sort of love with regards to software updates. So a lot of people who end up buying mid-range smartphones feel disappointed eventually, because they never receive any sort of software update and they don't even get the important security patches. Hopefully Samsung will keep it up with the software updates on both of these smartphones to enhance the performance and stability. If you're not a fan of Samsung's One UI skin, you can definitely go ahead and install any of the custom launchers and make it much faster. Samsung has even given an option to reduce the animations to improve speed of these devices. With regards to the animations, if you don't really like that, you can disable that in the settings as well. So a lot of options are there if you dig into the settings of the smartphone. So definitely check them out to make the maximum out of your device and to best optimize both your A50 and A30. Now let's dig deep into the cameras of the A50 and the A30. Like I mentioned, the A30 has dual cameras and the A50 has triple cameras at the back, and both of them have selfie cameras hidden in the infinity U notch at the front. First off, talking about the A50, it has a 25 megapixel wide camera with an aperture of f1.7. It also has a 5 megapixel telephoto sensor with an aperture of f2.2. And the interesting part is the A50 also has an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera at the back. The selfie camera is a 25 megapixel camera with an aperture of f2. And the interesting part is even the A30 has an ultra wide angle camera which is of just 5 megapixels at the back. So you can take some awesome ultra wide angle shots even with this budget oriented A30. And finally, the front facing camera on the A30 is a 16 megapixel camera. Even though the specs seem really good, the camera performance wasn't the best on the A50 and A30. When there was plenty of light outside, the pictures turned out really good. But when there was too much light, the pictures were overexposed and sometimes even the colors were washed out in some cases. I have to give props to Samsung for the clean user interface on the camera and making it very user friendly for anyone to make use of this. So the camera interface is quite similar to the camera interface on the S10 series that we saw. So it's pretty easy for anyone who has been using a Samsung smartphone to adapt to it. And another nice thing is that both of these devices also have the scene optimizer built in, so it will make use of AI to enhance your pictures a little bit. And it has a bunch of camera modes. It has a live focus mode for portrait photography, and also the pro mode is built right into the camera on both of these smartphones, so that's definitely awesome. Just like I mentioned in my review of the Samsung Galaxy A70, even the A50 and the A30 don't really do well in low light conditions. Now enough of me talking, here are some camera samples shot with the A30 and the A50 so that you can judge the camera performance of both of them. To gaming performance, I found the A50 to be doing much better in that department than the A30. I think the A30 is good to play some mediocre low-end games. Games like PUBG defaulted to medium graphics and it actually dropped quite a lot of frames when you change the graphics settings to high. Now let's jump into the battery performance of the A50 and the A30. Both of these devices actually have 4000 mAh batteries. Both of these devices actually have 15 watt fast charging built into it. So charging up both of these devices is quite easy with the USB Type-C port at the bottom. If you're a light user, you can definitely get full day's use out of both of these devices. But if you're a hardcore user, you will definitely have to plug this phone to charge. The A50 is available in black, white and blue. The A30 is available in black, red and blue. Another thing I want to mention about the design of the A50 is that it also has that same rainbow effect at the back, similar to the A70. When the light hits the back of the device, sometimes it looks quite nice in that reflection with the rainbow colors. The coating on the A30 actually doesn't do that, only the A50 does that. If you like fancy things like that, then you can consider the A50. The Galaxy A30 is priced in Sri Lanka for 41,849 rupees and the A50 is priced in Sri Lanka for 49,290. Finally, coming into the verdict, if you are trying to pick between the A30 and the A50, I think you should spend that little bit extra amount and go for the A50 if at all you want to go for either of these two smartphones. The pros on the A50 and the A30 are that they have great battery life, the display is good, the screen size is good, the design is quite okay, and especially when it comes to the A50, it has an in-display fingerprint scanner at the budget price point, and the camera performance is decent. But when it comes to performance, if you are a heavy user, I think you might be disappointed with the A30. So in that case, I strongly recommend you to go for either the A50 or the A70, or if not, if you are a hardcore user, definitely go for one of the flagships, because I don't think any of the mid-range smartphones will live up to your expectation when it comes to the maximum performance. Well guys, that's my full review of the Samsung Galaxy A50 and the A30. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, definitely go ahead and smash the like button and hit on that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, definitely go ahead and share this video with all of your friends all over social media. If someone is looking for a mid-range smartphone, maybe this video might help them out. Follow me on social media. I am at Andro Dollar. All the links are given down below in the description. And stay tuned to androdollar.com for all the latest from the tech world. Until I see you guys in my next video, this is Ban.